Good evening, and welcome to PurpleLight, everyone. PurpleLight New Hampshire is presented by the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network as the national leader in the fight against pancreatic cancer. The Pancreatic Cancer Action Network announced a bold initiative in 2011, a vision of progress aimed at bettering the odds for everyone affected by the disease. And that mission is to double the survival rate by 2020. We intend to achieve our incredible goal by pressing ahead with our proven, comprehensive approach to fighting the disease. Advancing research, building and sustaining federal support, providing resources for patients and families living with the disease, and raising awareness of the impact of pancreatic cancer. Our event this evening is one of more than 40 PurpleLight events that will take place across the country, helping raise awareness. PurpleLight brings together communities to honor survivors, inspire those who are fighting the disease, and remember those who we have lost. The recognition we are building this event will lead us into November, which is National Pancreatic Cancer Awareness Month. Since its first year in 2011, PurpleLight has continued to grow and evolve, while staying true to its purpose of bringing people together in support of the common disease. This cause takes us to Capitol Hill. It keeps us walking and running in purple strides, but this evening it brings us here, where we are taking actions not by lobbying or striding, but being together. I know that all of you are here for a reason. In honor and in memory of mothers, fathers, and spouses, grandparents, aunts, and uncles, cousins, siblings, children, and friends. Tonight we stand together as one, as a part of a national movement to create hope for all who have been affected by pancreatic cancer. With each name that we will read and each glow stick that we crack, we stand together in solidarity. We honor our survivors, inspire those who are battling this disease, and remember loved ones we've lost too soon. Tonight, we not only shine a light on our mission to double the survival, we also create hope, support patients and loved ones, and promise that no one has to face this disease alone. Tonight, we unite to raise awareness for the fight against pancreatic cancer, and as you stand here today, you are a part of this movement. Hold on one second. One of the most compelling aspects of PurpleLight comes from seeing the pancreatic cancer community across the nation come together in support of a common cause and in support of one another. To display the impact of every purple glow stick that is cracked this evening, we will invite you to visit www.purplelight.org and place a purple pin of hope on the interactive map in honor of the person you are here for this evening, and to connect with others who have been affected by pancreatic cancer. Now I would like to take a moment to thank and recognize our wonderful sponsors who are an important part of the community. Their participation is very much appreciated. We thank Dartmouth Hitchcock Medical Center, New Hampshire Electric Co-op for their gold sponsors, and Stebbins Corporation for the silver sponsor. We also thank the Manchester Monarchs, who have been super supportive of us starting last year, and we plan to do a lot more with them. We thank them all for being a part of the movement. We would also like to thank all of those who donated items for the raffle as well as the food donations. I also want to thank all of our volunteers. Volunteers, please come stand forward for me. Yes, front. Come on, volunteers. I want everybody to see who you are. Everybody come stand over here. Over here. Come up a little bit more. Dawn just sit in front of the table for pictures. Yes, in front of the table. All of these volunteers have worked very hard to make this event possible, to make sure it is inspiring and special. Volunteers like these guys can help make a difference, and we are lucky to have an entire team of people here in the New Hampshire community dedicated to ending this disease. Can we please give them all a round of applause, even though you already did. We are so proud of the work that our local volunteers do every day. And if we are going to beat this disease, we need more people to join the fight. I invite you to stop by any of the tables and join the contact list to learn more about how you can get involved. Our work here in New Hampshire, and how your talents and time can really make an impact on this disease. Okay, guys, you can come. No. Together, along with our sponsors and our community, we can and we will double the survival rate by 2020. And now I am very pleased to welcome the Mayor of Manchester, Mayor Ted Gatsas. He, once again, has turned City Hall purple for us for the month of November, as well as for tonight for this event. He will also be presenting us tonight with a proclamation from the city stating that they recognize November as Pancreatic Cancer Awareness Month.
Thank you, Amy. I can tell you that nobody works harder at this than Amy does. And certainly every year the crowd gets bigger. And certainly she needs to be commended because even the light show gets bigger. When she called me 2 years ago to participate, and she said, you know, this is all about awareness. There is no early detection, so this is about making people aware that there are folks out there that need your help. And certainly to the volunteers, I thank you. The citizens of the state of New Hampshire thank you, and the citizens of Manchester thank you, because you're out there working and helping those folks that have the symptoms of pancreatic cancer and try and get them through it. And I can tell you I've had 2 good friends that have passed away because of pancreatic cancer. And it's very, very tough on the families around them, and I certainly commend every family that's in the fight. Keep up the good work and keep up the great fight. So with that, let me read the resolution. City of Manchester, a resolution. I, Theodore L. Gatsas, Mayor of Manchester, do hereby proclaim November 2014 as Pancreatic Cancer Awareness Month in Manchester, New Hampshire, and that this resolution be duly signed by the Mayor of Manchester, Theodore Gatsas, and City Hall will be purple for the month of November.
Thank you very much, Mayor Gatsas. Once again, we are appreciative of your support in our fight. The mayor joins 11 other communities in New Hampshire this year submitting proclamations. We still have several in the works. As of tonight, the total that we have received is 11. This helps us get the awareness out there and lets people know about our organization and our fight. Senator Kelly Ayotte had also been invited to speak with us tonight. However, she had several other commitments and was unable to make it. She called me the other night and actually asked me if it would be okay if I could read a letter in place of her speech. So, dear honored guests, I join with you, the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network, and all who are gathered here for this evening's 3rd annual Purple Light event, as we lend our voices in support of all impacted by pancreatic cancer. Through your great work and tireless efforts, you have helped countless residents in our communities and have been an intricate part of their support system. We have come a long way, but we have further still to go in our fight against pancreatic cancer. At the federal level, it is critical that we capitalize to the fullest extent on our federal investments in medical research. We can best do this by promoting partnerships and initiatives that emphasize coordination and reduce duplication. We must increase public awareness and allow greater access to information for those at risk. My hope is that our researchers, scientists, healthcare providers, survivors, and pancreatic cancer advocates will all come together to focus on these goals. Thank you for all that you do in the fight against pancreatic cancer, and I look forward to continuing to work with you on this critically important issue for so many Americans. Sincerely, Kelly Ayotte. And now it is with my pleasure that I welcome Dr. Kerrigan Smith. Dr. Smith is an assistant professor of surgery as well as an active surgeon at Dartmouth-Hitchcock Medical Center. He has extensive research background in pancreatic cancer and continues to put his efforts forward in helping fight this disease. Please help me welcome Dr. Smith.
Thanks, Amy. Can you guys all hear me okay? It's really a pleasure to be here and just honestly see not only all these people, but patients of mine and families that I know personally. And it's an honor to be here and talk to you guys today. Can you guys hear me? So I have, I'm in an interesting situation because I'm a pancreas surgeon and as well as a researcher. So I have a unique perspective, and I wanted to talk to you guys about two of the problems. One of them was already mentioned, and that's the obvious one, early detection. I mean, there is no early detection for this cancer, unfortunately. Breast cancer has mammograms, colon cancer has colonoscopies, but we don't have that for pancreatic cancer. And so as a consequence, half the patients, when they get pancreatic cancer, they already have metastatic disease or it's already spread. And so that's actually probably the biggest problem. So the big game changer would be an early detection test. The other thing I can mention, and that's really relevant to the research we're doing up at Dartmouth, is that we don't have a way to personalize the therapy right now. I don't know if everyone here has some connection to pancreatic cancer and they've been treated in some manner or a loved one has, and there's no way to personalize it. So let me give you an example. So you go to your doctor, or if you're a patient or your family member's gone to the doctor and maybe you're being treated, your CA19-9 level might be up, maybe you're not feeling so good, or they see a scan or something, maybe there's a new mass or the mass got bigger, and they say, well, or you're getting treatment X, why don't we try treatment Y? But they don't know. There's no way to know if treatment Y is going to be any better than treatment X. And that's the real problem. Like, we're not personalizing the treatment for the patient. So one of the things we're trying to do, and it's pretty exciting, is that when patients come to us, they don't even know they have cancer, they have a mass. So they get a little bit louder, sorry. So they have a mass. And this is the first microphone, but I've been too short to stand in front of. Yeah. So they have a mass, right? And they don't even know they have cancer. They get a biopsy. Well, what we're doing is taking the cells from that initial biopsy, the tumor cells, and putting them directly into a mouse. I mean, it sounds kind of crazy, but that mouse then is now going to grow that patient's tumor. That's the patient's, what we call an avatar, or a patient-direct xenograft. So now when the patient's getting their standard treatment, I call it sort of the kitchen sink approach. We're giving them chemo radiation, and then ultimately, if they come to me, I'm going to do the surgery. But that takes months. And then during that time, the patient's own tumor is growing in the mouse. We're characterizing it. We're trying to sequence the DNA so that we can understand patient's tumor X versus patient's tumor Y and give them the treatment. If the cancer comes back, then we know what to give them. I mean, it just sort of makes sense. So that's one of the things we're trying to do, and that would be a game changer. If we could personalize the treatment for this disease, that and early detection. That's what everybody's striving for. So I don't know, Amy, am I to read the names now? No. Anyway, that's all I had to say. Thanks for coming, everybody.
Thank you, Dr. Smith. And now I am very pleased to welcome our survivor, Corey Broder, to share her story.
First of all, I'd like to thank my friends and family for coming and supporting me throughout this whole ordeal. And also, Dr. Carrington Smith was my oncologist surgeon. He's wonderful, so if anybody needs anything, he's the man to see up at Dartmouth Hitchcock. My name is Corey Broder, and I am a 36-year-old registered nurse and also a pancreatic cancer survivor. My story first started in January when the love of my life decided to leave us. He moved to Florida to be with his kids that he had been estranged from for 15 years. I was an emotional wreck. I lost over 30 pounds and couldn't eat. At the end of January, I worked a 4-night, 12-hour shift in a row. The last 2 nights of my duties, I started to get sick with cold-like symptoms and couldn't breathe. On January 29th, I called my mom at work, and she brought me to the emergency room of the hospital where I work to be seen, where they diagnosed me with a panic and anxiety attack and sent me home. Over the next 6 days, I suffered with being so sick and not being able to breathe. I picked my daughter up at school and then drove myself to Valley Regional Hospital emergency room. At Valley, they were wonderful. They worked me up and my D-dimer was positive, which then I was automatically sent for a CT scan. The CT scan results revealed I had 2 big blood clots in my lungs, one close to my heart. I was admitted to the ICU on a heparin drip for 2 days. I was then sent home on a new blood thinner. I was having adverse reactions from the meds and started to bleed a lot. After being home for 2 days my family brought me to Dartmouth Hitchcock Medical Center emergency room. At Dartmouth, I was admitted for 8 days. They got my bleeding to eventually stop, and I was put back on the heparin drip for the blood clots in my lungs. The doctors ran numerous tests and procedures due to it not being normal for an active, healthy 35-year-old to form the blood clots. They performed a CT scan of my abdomen, which the results showed numerous areas of concern. I had spots on my ovaries, fallopian tubes, cervix, and pancreas. I had a vaginal ultrasound that confirmed that it was a cyst on my ovary. They performed a pap smear and cervical biopsy that confirmed I had precancerous cells in my cervix. An intrauterine device was implanted to stop the bleeding and scrape the precancerous cells from my cervix. An endoscopy with a biopsy was done on the pancreatic mass. Once I was stabilized, I was discharged home, not knowing the results of the pancreatic mass biopsy. I was discharged home on a blood thinner Coumadin, which has to be blood monitoring for at least 3 to 5 times a week initially. I was also on Lovenox injections in my abdomen once daily. I was homebound, unable to drive, and weak, so the visiting nurses came to my home. It was about 2 weeks after discharge, I had a follow-up appointment with my new primary care doctor that confirmed that I had pancreatic cancer. Myself as a registered nurse for many years knew what this meant, because I had taken care of patients with this diagnosis, and it was devastating news. In March, I saw the oncologist hematologist that confirmed the blood clots were caused from the cancer. I was then instructed to continue the daily Lovenox injections into my abdomen for at least 6 months. During this time, my ex-husband, Keith Broder, and also the father of our 12-year-old daughter, was a true lifesaver. He moved me back into the family home we had once shared years prior, so I wouldn't be alone. This way I could be with our daughter all the time, because I couldn't drive. When I say a true lifesaver, I literally mean it. There were many points that I just wanted to give up. I started to develop aphasia where I couldn't find the words I wanted to say. Then when I did, I would stutter over trying to pronounce them. I developed memory loss and was having tics like mini-like seizures. A brain MRI was done and showed I had 6 spots on my brain. I was then referred to a neurologist. An EEG was conducted to analyze the brain waves. A lumbar puncture was done to analyze the spinal fluid to confirm it was not cancer. We still don't know what the spots on my brain were, but I was relieved to know that it was not cancer. The surgery had been delayed until May. The risks were way too high. The risks were way too high to stop the blood thinners for the blood clots in my lungs. On May 9th, I went into surgery with Dr. Carrington Smith, another true lifesaver. Dr. Smith removed my spleen, some lymph nodes, and part of my pancreas. I was in the hospital for another 8-day stay. The histology report came back that the margins were clear, which was good news for once. Recovering from surgery has been a long road. On July 25th, I received termination papers in the mail from the hospital that misdiagnosed me and also the hospital I worked at. I had reached my 6 months of medical leave of absence, so I was no longer employed there. It was such a horrible feeling of just continue getting kicked while you're already down and out. Like usual, I picked up the pieces and moved on. To this day, I continue to have my good days and my bad days. I continue to battle with acid reflux, heartburn, gas buildup and bloating, constipation, insomnia, hand tremors and shaking, still cannot focus on critical thinking problems, forgetfulness, cramping in my abdomen, pain under my left rib cage, fatigue, weakness, and nausea. About 3 to 4 months after surgery, I started to lose my hair in clumps as it fell out. I saw my primary care doctor, and she correlated it to how much trauma my body had been through since January. I got a shorter haircut, and after some time, it stopped falling out. Living with these day-to-day issues are far better than the outcome could have been. I am so grateful and thankful for the support team of friends and families, members that I had and still have to this day. It made a huge difference on my overall outlook for sure. I was very lucky. Some people go through this alone because they don't have the support system like I do and did. Now I have dedicated my time to being an advocate and a supporter for people with pancreatic cancer for whatever they need, whether it be making purple craft items to donate, my nursing knowledge, visiting and supporting or assisting with transportation to doctor's appointments. Nobody should have to go through this horrible disease alone. And thank you all for your support.
Thank you, Corey, for sharing your story. And I want to share with you that I have known Corey since she was a little girl. Her and my sister were good friends growing up. So when the news came to me that Corey Baker is what she used to be, had pancreatic cancer, I was in shock. And it made my job here for the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network even more important for me. I have lost my father as well as 2 other friends to this disease, and we can't have this happen anymore. Tonight we have pancreatic cancer survivors with us. Survivors are a symbol of hope for all of us in the pancreatic cancer community. They remind us each and every day why we continue to work so hard to change the course of this disease. Would all of our survivors that are here tonight please come forward and stand over here? As you can see, they're a very tight-knit group. To all of our survivors here tonight, we honor you and your journey. You motivate us in the fight against pancreatic cancer, and we support you and commend you for your strength and spirit. We are also grateful for all of our survivors, and also for those who have bravely fought this disease and cannot be with us today. Let's take some time to honor and remember all of those who have fought pancreatic cancer with a moment of silence. Survivors, you may take your seats. Now we will begin our Purple Light ceremony to recognize all the loved ones we are honoring and remembering this evening. We will start by reading the names that have been submitted. Dr. Smith, would you please come forward and take the honor of reading the names for us? When you hear the name of your loved one, please crack your glow stick and shake it to activate it. We ask that you hold any applause till the very end.
Thanks, Amy. All right, the first name, Joanne Walsh. Richard Philbin. Patricia Holmes Mancini. Butch Andrews. James Hayden Harris. Gary Badeau. Victor Potvin. William Miner, Elaine Watson, Vicky Crossman, Robert Allison, Russ Croteau, Belinda Decker, sorry, Marie Martel, Alice Fay, Michelle Dudash, Paul Gagne, Cliff Hurtle, Timothy Walker Horhov, Joanne Esherwood, Ruth Elswell, Jack Langridge, Bill Wadsworth, Ross Wagner, Muriel McCormick, Carl Kirsch, Rosemary Jennings, Rosemary Conway, Carol Nichols, Elizabeth Howard, Wendy Wilford, Richard Brady, Carl Plord, Ruth Silverman, Hazel Sandler, Gus Brown, Harriet McGee, Alec Mathis, Barbara Newt, Gertrude Barron, Gary Spellman, Arlene Jennings, Bob Cody, Richard Tower, Penny Solrex, Danny Solrex, sorry, Pamela Wausner, Bernadette Lafreniere, Flora Powers, Diane Forsyth, Barbara Butterfield, Jill Page Dole, David Gainey, Don Farrell, Sophie Raymond, Robert Heavey, Elaine Watson, Mike Howell, Stephen Wright, Carl Gibson, Chris Rawson, Janine Tracy, John Garst, Rick Campagna, DC Perfido, Patricia Rohr, Joanne Walsh, Richard Philbin. Yep, I think I'm at the beginning. Darwin White. Thank you.
These individuals, along with so many others, are what we fight for. Take a moment to look around you. Look at all the purple lights in the crowd. Oh, Corey Broder's name was not on that list. Sorry, Corey Broder. Well, that was a big mistake. Okay, now, everybody wave their purple lights up in the air. Take a look around you. Look at all the purple lights in the crowd. This color represents our fight against pancreatic cancer. It represents strength of our community, and most importantly, it represents our hope. There are purple lights across the country in over 40 communities tonight, representing the same thing. We are a glowing beacon of hope for the future. When you leave here tonight, I encourage everyone to carry this hope with you.